they can lose 3% of that portfolio value if they don't hit their 20, 30 homes a month and hit their number on the date that they're supposed to get done. They could lose a lot of money. They still make a lot of money, but they could lose a lot of money. So I can't afford to guess my way through this stuff.
So let's talk about providing our listeners with a simple, let's say 3 to 5 step process to get started doing this. So if we're thinking about someone who's brand new to this, even if they're a veteran real estate investor at the moment, what are some of the steps that they need to take in order to get started doing this? Because like you said, man, if someone's contacting you, they received a mailer from you with a code on it. I want to know what this offer is about personally. But the way that you systemize this, I'm not like from my experience, and I'm speaking from experience, by the way, when people call me, it's not like your normal motivated seller phone call. It's almost like they want an offer. They want to see what this is about, but their approach to it is, it's not like saying, hey, what's this all about? I want to find out more information. So it's almost like they're contacting me or contacting you, for example, for this information. They have a lot of questions, right?
Correct.
Versus when someone contacts me through a regular mailer, they're not as nice as they are when they get this piece of mail. You know what I mean? So let's provide our listeners with that 3 to 5 step process on how they can get started. Because to me, psychologically, the way you market to these people, it affects them in a way that makes them want to call to find out more information.
Oh yeah, and they freely say on the phone too. It's amazing. Our teams love it. We're doing it across America. They're like, dude, it took them from hating to be on the phone to liking those incoming phone calls, because people are ready to talk to you about their situation, because you have a full-blown assistance program, right? So if you're going to get started, here's what we need you to do, okay? Before you dip your toes in this sandbox, the most profitable one, free and clear houses a lot of the time. Like I said, it should be one of your biggest focuses. And the people that we get our hands on, the investors that we help, they're like, dude, it's my new favorite niche. I was just talking to you before we started about a guy that I'd never met before, that was in Atlanta, and I met him at a real estate event, and he said, dude, it's my favorite niche of all time now. So what do we do, right? First thing you need to do is find out how far behind does a homeowner need to be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in taxes in your state before they get slated for tax sale. That's one, okay? Step 2, find out when the tax sales are held. So, like in Texas, they're held every month. In St. Louis, my original hometown, they're held every August once you're 3 years behind. You want to know how far behind, because then that's going to tell you how to pare down the delinquent tax list. Because here's the other fun part. Most of the time in every state, because states want their money, right? You can get a list of tax delinquents. But if you grab that list, Jamel, as you already know, there could be 14,000. So I always laugh when people say they have a lead generation problem. You have 14,000 delinquent tax. There's no lead generation problem. And so what we need to do is find out how far behind, because then you can pare down the list. One of the biggest keys here is to pare down that tax delinquent list. And inside our tax delinquent blueprint that we created, which the course that you went through, right? Mm-hmm. As you know, we show you how to get very, very, very specific with that list, so that you don't have to have some big budget. You can narrow down a list from thousands down to a few hundred that are the absolute most motivated, and just market to them with the superior marketing technique that wins the game. So you don't have to be consistent and mail 50 times, right? So having said that, once you find out how far behind before somebody goes to tax sale, now you can start to pare down that list. And so if it's 3 years behind in my example of St. Louis, right, then we probably want to start with the people that are 2 years behind or more, because they're marching towards tax sale. I always joke and say, hey, always pare down your list. If they're 1 year behind, Jamel, it could be an accident. Most of the time it's not, but it could be. 2 years behind in the history of mankind has never been an accident. And so having said that, now we're paring down our list. The next thing you need to do is get your marketing letters ready to go. which we perfected it. We have 100 different variations that we tested, and the two pieces that we deploy that are inside our tax delinquent blueprint that you've seen, they destroy the universe. Like we're getting direct mail response rates of 10, 15, 20. We had one client, and I'll say his name so you can look him up, folks. Scott Jordan. Okay, he's out of St. Louis. You can look him up. He narrowed down his list. He got very specific with it based upon what we taught him inside the tax delinquent blueprint. So it's a very, very, very niche list, the zip codes that he wanted, and he got a 40.5% response rate in 5 weeks.
That's insane, man.
That's insane. Yeah, I had another guy that came to our full 2-day blueprint after getting the tax delinquent blueprint, and his name was Phil Hutchins. Again, I say names so people can look it up on their own. Phil Hutchins, he came to our blueprint. Well, he was already 6 weeks into the tax delinquent blueprint, and by the time he showed up at the blueprint, and inside the 2-day blueprint, I taught the tax technique as well. And the rest of the class, I go, hey, Phil, what are you at response rate-wise? And he was like 5 weeks into sending out his mailers. He was already at a 19% response rate. When people send out direct mail and get if they get a 2% response rate, they get excited. This isn't a fair fight. No. So after we narrow down our list, we get ready to send out the marketing pieces, the two that we know win by a mile. Then you just go straight into the scripting that took us probably 3 years to perfect the scripting and the different help buckets that we teach. So there's different buckets that you put homeowners in, because when they're calling to ask for help on a full-blown assistance program, you better have structured stuff in place. So the final piece is that you take nice phone calls instead of going, you're just one of those flippers. You take phone calls that are easy to take because they're eager to talk to you, which is light years out of the competition within itself and 10 times better than what most investors have to experience daily, right? But you better know what you're talking about. So all you do on the back end is follow the script, and we put them in different help buckets, and we close deal after deal after deal. If you're listening to this, whatever income benchmark you set for yourself, you can do it in this sandbox alone. I know with certainty, because I don't guess my way through stuff. When a hedge fund says I need 2,000 homes, I can't fake it till I make it. But like they can lose 3% of that portfolio value if they don't hit their 20, 30 homes a month and hit their number on the date that they're supposed to get done. They could lose a lot of money. They still make a lot of money, but they could lose a lot of money. So I can't afford to guess my way through this stuff.